Adolf Hitler. Germany after World War I was a mess. They lost the war, owed money, and people were super angry and poor. Then along came Hitler, an Austrian soldier who could shout very well. He joined a tiny political party, renamed it the Nazi Party, and gave fiery speeches. He blamed the Jews, the communists, the Treaty of Versailles, basically everyone. People were frustrated, and his anger made them feel like someone was finally saying what they were thinking. In 1923, he tried to coup the beer hall putsch and failed miserably. He went to jail, wrote Mein Kampf, his angry autobiography, and when he got out, he realized, I can't take power by force. I need to win it. So he ran in elections, and guess what? The Nazis slowly gained seats. Then came the big moment in 1933. The president made Hitler chancellor. A month later, the Reichstag, Germany's parliament, mysteriously caught fire. Hitler used it as an excuse to crack down on freedoms, arrest enemies, and pass laws giving him total power. Boom. No more democracy. Just Heil Hitler from there on. Joseph Stalin. When Lenin died in 1924, the Soviet Union had a big power vacuum. Stalin was just the general secretary, basically the note-passer of the Communist Party. But here's the twist. He used that boring-sounding job to build loyalty. He quietly placed his supporters in key positions like a human game of chess. His biggest rival, Leon Trotsky, a brainy revolutionary who actually helped win the Civil War. But Stalin outsmarted him, teamed up with enemies just long enough to push Trotsky out, then turned on those same allies. Once he was on top, it was game over. He launched purges, show trials, secret police raids, millions died in gulags, famines, and fake accusations. He didn't just want power, he wanted absolute control over truth itself. Mao Zedong. China in the 1920s and 30s was like a game of tug-of-war, warlords, poverty, foreign invasions. Mao was a young revolutionary who believed in communism. He fought a long civil war against the nationalists, who had better weapons and international support. Mao's secret weapon, peasants. He said, hey, if we give land to farmers, they'll fight with us. And he was right. After decades of struggle, including the famous Long March, where his army trekked 6,000 miles to escape encirclement, he finally won in 1949. China became the People's Republic. At first, people had hope. But then came the Great Leap Forward. Mao's plan to modernize quickly by melting metal in backyard furnaces. It led to famine and millions of deaths. Then the Cultural Revolution, books banned, schools closed, teachers attacked. Mao wanted eternal revolution and crushed anyone who disagreed. Benito Mussolini. After World War I, Italy felt cheated and betrayed. They fought hard but didn't get much in the peace deal. The economy was bad, people were mad, and politicians were weak. Enter Mussolini, a former socialist who flipped to fascism, a mix of nationalism, violence, and might makes right. He formed gangs called the Black Shirts who beat up communists and strikers. Then in 1922, he led the March on Rome with his followers. The king, afraid of civil war, just handed him power. Once in charge, Mussolini banned opposition parties, censored the press, and made himself dictator. He called it Il-Duce the leader and promised to restore the Roman Empire. Spoiler, he didn't. Kim Il-sung. After Japan lost World War II, Korea was split in two, North and South. The Soviets supported the North, and the Americans helped the South. Kim Il-sung was chosen by the Soviets to lead the North. He was a guerrilla fighter who looked like a hero. In 1950, he invaded the South, hoping to unite Korea by force. It turned into a bloody 3-year war. The result? A divided Korea, just like before. But Kim stayed in power by building a huge personality cult. He created a country where he was the sun, and everything revolved around him. Kim Jong-il. Kim Il-sung ruled until 1994, then passed the crown, heir presidency, to his son, Kim Jong-il. Kim hashed two loved movies, fashion, and being worshipped. He officially invented the idea of juke, self-reliance, though most of the country starved under him. He kept the country isolated, built nukes, and made sure his face was everywhere. Kim Jong-un. Then came Kim the Third. Kim Jong-un. No one knew much about him. He studied in Switzerland, loved basketball, and then suddenly became supreme leader in 2011. People hoped he might reform North Korea. Instead, he flexed nuclear weapons and doubled down on propaganda. Oh, and that haircut? Totally illegal to copy in North Korea. Pol Pot. Pol Pot was a French-educated thinker who decided Cambodia needed a fresh start. By fresh, I mean erasing everything: schools, money, even glasses. He thought educated people were enemies. In 1975, his Khmer Rouge took over. He emptied cities and forced everyone to farm. It turned into one of the worst genocides ever. About 1.7 million people died in just 4 years. No books, no doctors, no mercy. Saddam Hussein. Saddam was a Ba'ath Party tough guy who climbed the ranks through loyalty and violence. In 1979, he made himself president. He built secret police, used fear to rule, and launched a war against Iran that lasted 8 years. Then in 1990, he invaded Kuwait, and the world responded with the Gulf War. He stayed in power after that, crushing uprisings, until 2003, when the US invaded and toppled his regime. Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a young military officer who staged a bloodless coup in 1969. He overthrew the king, kicked out foreign bases, and called it a revolution. At first, he used oil money to help the poor, but soon he ruled with paranoia. He wore wild outfits, made long rambling speeches, and called himself brother leader. After decades of dictatorship, in 2011, during the Arab Spring, his people rose up, and this time, they won. Nicolae Ceausescu. He came to power in 1965, and at first, people liked him. He stood up to the Soviets a few times, and the West thought, hey, maybe this guy's different. Spoiler, he wasn't. He built a huge personality cult, his face on buildings, forced applause, even made his wife Elena a scientific genius with 0 credentials. Then came the big mistake. He tried to pay off Romania's debt by exporting everything: food, fuel, power, which meant the people got nothing. Cold homes, empty stores, and hours-long bread lines. While everyone suffered, Ceausescu built one of the biggest palaces in the world. No one was allowed to complain. But in 1989, protests broke out. He gave a speech, and the crowd booed him live on TV. His rule collapsed in days. He tried to flee, but the military turned on him. He and Elena were captured, tried, and executed on Christmas Day, 1989. The end of him, and of communist rule in Romania.